The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. Better late than never. I'm Chip. We can't hear CJ yet.
And I'm Carlos.
There I am.
There you go. We got him. We're good. We're good to go. Okay, boys and girls, it's a Friday. And it's Friday, and we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there's going to be obviously there's going to be a problem because we had some major camera issues. There was an event going on here at BCC, and that created some control problems with our cameras, which are mostly robotic now.
Yeah, your audio is a little low, CJ.
Well, there's nothing I can do about that.
All right.
And so while you're not going to get the full show, we're going to be about 3 minutes cut off, 4 minutes cut off. It will be rebroadcast at 5 o'clock. Please be sure to watch it there. And hopefully we can get this whole situation corrected in a matter of time.
That's okay, as long as we on the air. We don't have close-up
right.
shots, but that's fine because we didn't shave today.
And we're not going to fire everybody at BCC and unilaterally dismiss them and get a private contractor.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is you know, our station manager, director, Keith Tebow said it's a problem. It's going to happen every so often because, you know, this station serves two masters. It serves not only BCC, but it also serves our public viewing audience. So it can get very difficult at times.
And it's also live TV. So
and it is live TV, which is always an error.
If we had a tape show, we'd never have a glitch because we could just retape. But
exactly.
You know, but also the fun of live TV is that you know, there's no editing.
No.
You're going to get the unvarnished truth, and that's what we like to do. So let's get into this. Correa gets tough on sanitation, threatens to privatize, even if it costs more. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I love the way you take care of the taxpayers. We don't care if it's going to cost the people of Fall River more money to pick up their trash. I'm going to do that just because I can, but you can't. Okay? You can't. I know that the Teamsters, Local 251, I think they've filed an unfair labor practice, and just to show, well, number one, let me start saying how of the cavalier attitude of just eliminating people's jobs. These people work for a living. And and they're some of the lowest paid people in the city. And they work hard. I mean, you know, you can say what you want, but I'll tell you what, take a day and spend the day slinging barrels in the bitter cold, the driving rain, and tell me that these people should just be treated like they're non-people. And they're also, for the most part, residents of Fall River. So we're going to put them out on the street. Oh, they're going to get a job with the private contractor. Yeah, for you know, they pay ridiculous wages. And besides that, besides the total insensitivity to the working man in this city, the same insensitivity that's been given to the taxpayer, there's a total. We just ignore the law. He's declared that he's going to do this. I hate to tell you this. You can't. You're wrong. And I don't know who's advising you, but CJ, can you come in on this?
We don't have.
No, we don't have camera control.
All right, I'll read it. This is the Massachusetts Public Employee Collective Bargaining Law, 150E. This is a synopsis. This is the Bible of what a city and what a union's responsibility is to bargain, to oversee collective bargaining agreements. What our mayor has basically done is declared an impasse, which he says gives him the right to do anything he wants, but it's not true. I'm going to read you from the Bible verbatim. Factors to be weighed in determining whether an impasse exists are: 1, the good faith of parties in negotiations. Now, number one, the city never had good faith. He's been using these negotiations as a weapon to take things away. That's not good faith bargaining, number one. And the Labor Relations Commission should be able to see that very clearly. Threatening jobs, okay? And ultimatum bargaining, which again is another prohibited practice. 2, the length of negotiations. They've had 3 meetings. And I know most of you have never dealt in negotiations. I have, numerous times, not only for the firefighters, but as a consultant for other unions. You don't even get started till the 4th or 5th meeting, because the fact is, the first meeting is you set the ground rules. The next 3 meetings, you introduce proposals. Then by the 4th or 5th meeting, you actually begin to work on the negotiations. So the fact that he's declared an impasse after 3 meetings shows that they never intended the good faith bargain. They're not at an impasse. They haven't met already the first 2 criteria. 3, the importance of the issues are issues as to which there is disagreement. What is more important than people's jobs? That's the capital punishment of labor. So again, it's pretty important. And last, but by no means least, the contemporaneous understanding of the parties as to the state of negotiations. Contemporaneous is a big word. It means occurring at the same time, which means that does the city and the union in negotiations at the same time have an understanding of what's happening. So obviously one of the parties doesn't, and that's the city and its mayor and its bargaining team, because they're clueless. So that's basically the issue here. There's no impasse, and I will read you from another prohibited practice. Employer prohibited practice. Section 10A, subsection 1. It is a violation of the law if an employer's conduct may be reasonably said to interfere with the employees in the exercise of their rights under section 2. And this basically says that it's illegal for an employer to basically threaten to remove people's jobs, which is exactly what he's doing. So this is wrong on so many levels, but it's wrong on the most fundamental level. An insensitivity to the people who do the hard work, who show up every day and work. And whether you like them or dislike them, you know, they have a right to be treated like people. And what the city is doing to me is unconscionable. While he's running around building walkways from Bank Street, he's treating these people, not giving them their fundamental rights to bargain under the law, and they will lose that and be ordered back to the table. This is a fiasco from the get-go. I'm embarrassed to see this stuff happen. And I'm going to tell you something. You can throw that whole law department in a barrel, because the fact is, labor law is a specialty, just like brain surgery is. You know, a general practitioner can't do brain surgery. Well, the fact is that arbitrators are specialized in labor law. There are certain lawyers, i.e. one of our lawyer for 30-some years, Neil Rossman, who is a recognized national expert in labor law, represented Suffolk County court offices, police unions, fire unions. Public sector law is a specialized field. Most union presidents know more about public sector laws than most lawyers and most mayors. And this is just, and you know, even if you didn't know the law, to treat people like this is just wrong. I'm on a rant, but this is something that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm finished. You guys can weigh in, because
your rant
totally
is over.
disgusted.
Your rant is over, and as you notice, We got the cameras back. While you were doing your rant, I was going nuts on the tech
Beautiful.
side.
I gave you enough time. It's karma.
You know, and the funny thing is that on Tuesday, the 2 is going to have a press conference to discuss the enforcement of pay-as-you-throw, because he's always been for pay-as-you-throw. Now, under the acts of 2015, number 23, chapter 62 of the revised ordinance of the Fall River, Massachusetts, 1999, which chapter relates to solid waste, is amended as follows. Section 1, by striking out 62.1, which section relates to definitions, authorized private receptacles and its definition. Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, etc., etc. It will relate to the definition of proper alphabetical order of the following. Director meaning DCM. Official city bag means trash bag authorized to be used by the city for the disposing of solid waste into a green cart. Section 3. Section relates to collection and disposal generally. A new subsection, it reads as follows. The city shall collect solid waste in receptacles from single-family dwellings and multiple-family residential buildings containing up to 6 dwelling units. Solid waste shall be collected only if placed in an official city bag and placed in a green cart. Recyclables shall not be placed in green carts, and solid waste shall not be placed in blue or pink carts. By inserting a new section under Section 4 as follows. Under Section 62.9, supervision. Supervision shall be in the control of collection of solid waste. The director may promulgate procedures. Section 5, striking out 62.48, which relates to enforcement in its entirety and inserting in place thereof. The director and his authorized agents, including but not limited to litter enforcement officers, shall have the authority to enforce the provisions of ordinances as detailed in Chapter 26, Environment, Chapter 62, Solid Waste, and Sections 2-1021 and 2 through 2-1025. Now that says how much the fines are. Now here's the fun part. Let's go there and find out what this fine is going to be and who is going to enforce it, because we already know the courts have said we don't even want to hear about it. So, under 20122, this is a non-criminal disposition, okay? They'll receive a notice to appear. Any person taking cognizance of a violation of any city ordinance, which is he is empowered to enforce, hereinafter referred to as the enforcing person, as an alternative to initiating criminal proceedings, may give to the offender a written notice as prescribed by the court to appear before the clerk of the district or housing court having jurisdiction thereof. Procedure for non-criminal disposition. All of the procedures set forth in Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 21D shall apply to non-criminal disposition of ordinance violations under this article. Exemptions. This article, however, shall not apply to violations of municipal traffic ordinances, rules, or regulations which are otherwise enforced under Mass General Law, Chapter 90C, which is Lori Ferrera's job. You move on further. Unless otherwise provided by law, any person who violates a city ordinance pursuant to Section 2 through 1021 and who has been given notice pursuant to Section 2-1022 shall be subject to a penalty of $100 for the first violation, $200 for the second, and $300 for each subsequent violation. Each day a violation continues shall constitute a separate offense. This section shall not preclude the city from proceeding to restrain the violation of any ordinance of the city by injunction where such proceedings are more appropriate. So guess what, people? Every time you don't use a purple bag, it's $100, then $200, then $300. This is how we're going to recoup the sanitation fee. Now here's the kicker, because now we're going to kick in the Pereira principle. Remember, this is the Pereira principle because she fought for this. Okay? To the solid waste sections, You cannot, the director can only generate the fines against the person who created the violation or generated the waste. So the landlords are off the hook because Linda didn't want to have to pay the fines, to quote her, for my tenants who don't want to follow the law. Well, guess what? You own the property. Also, this provision says up to 6 tenements, up to 6 in one dwelling, one property. So what do we do with a property that has 12 that the city's currently handling? Because we, for years, have said, oh, well, you know, that's been grandfathered in. Guess what? Is the mayor going to say, no, we're not going to do that now? The big problem I have with this whole process is that the mayor already knows, and I've gotten it numerous times from numerous sources at Government Center, and was again confirmed today, that the bids for privatization are too high. But then again, you go back to the article where the mayor made the comment to Joe Good, I don't care if it's high or not, I'm going to do it. This is the little boy taking his bat and ball and leaving because he didn't get his way. And this is not acceptable to me, and I'm quite sure to the people of Fall River. The one thing that this mayor has not learned, that this emperor has not learned, is that this is not Xanadu. This is not Disneyland. He is not an Imagineer. And he is elected to do the will and bidding of the people, not of your special interests. And if you keep doing that, you're going to reach the same downfall that your predecessors have reached. Trash has been a 20-year problem, a problem that this city just can't let go of. And guess what? It's time to let go of it. The mayor has been told by me, and I'm sure by many others, it's time for him to use his executive authority and his executive orders and just turn around and say to the people of Fall River, to DCM, to everybody, effective July 1, 2016, the city of Fall River shall not provide and shall not be involved in municipal solid waste management. All property owners, commercial industries, and entities are required to immediately enter into contracts with private haulers. The problem solved. Take 10% of the money currently dedicated to solid waste and dedicate it to enforcement. Drive around the city, and every single property, commercial or residential, that does not have a contract, that has trash building up, gets fined. And you make the fine stiff, because then it will stop. People in Fall River aren't taking pride in their city. Because number one, I'm not a supporter of purple bags. The mayor always has been. Even when he was a city councilor, he supported the purple bag program. The problem is this. The people of Fall River have already learned, Mr. Mayor, and please, paid heed, that if they don't put their mail or identifying material in the bags, they can throw the bags out. You can't generate a fine against a property owner. So there's your revenue stream gone. Further, people aren't even doing that. They're taking the trash to Stop and Shop, and to Shaw's, and to CVS, and to BCC, and using the barrels here. There was even, my co-host can verify this. He and I were talking about this morning, that people are dumping in their construction debris in private
I've seen it. I actually witnessed it a couple of days ago. But the thing is that, listen, this is a problem that's even, it's more than just about bags. It's always take money away from people who have no money, and this is the reason this city is floundering. We can't figure out a way to get, to reduce the costs, because all we do is increase the high-paying jobs and kill everybody that's got two nickels. And the fact is, we've got another one. We may not get to it today, but you've got an article here from the Herald News that Fall River area residents go to the hospital for oral health care more than anywhere else in the state. And why do they do that? Because they can't afford to go to a dentist. That's why. They go to oral care because they go to the emergency room because they can't afford dental care, so they're going there for oral care. Listen, this city has got some serious problems, and we have to deal with them. And these fines are going to make the city into an absolute mess, because once you fine these people, they're going to be throwing bags everywhere. And if you don't think they're smart enough to take their mail out after, they will, because this is going to be catastrophic. And again, we're losing the trash collection fee, but the water fees are going up, and astronomically. And what's going to happen? Property owners are going to begin to segregate their water meters, tell their tenants to pay their water bills, and if they don't, the city's going to have to chase them around, and they'll never pay them. It's ludicrous. The fact is that this is an, and the Pereira principle. Well, we got to do this. Why? We've got to do this because we got to clean up. We're not meeting EPA standards because our department head didn't. Why wasn't he fired years ago? He's gotten pay raises. He's going to retire with a nice fat pension. And we heard him in front of the council say, I can't keep up with the regulations. Well, if you can't, you shouldn't be a department head.
But you know,
so
Chip,
we're paying again for their mistakes like we pay all the time. And I'm going to tell you something. That is not, no, Linda, you don't have to do it. Nobody's holding a gun to your head. You can tell them.
Yeah, Flanagan's gone.
To bring the water department in, identify the problems, and then make the consequences apply to the people who created the problems and fix it. And the first fix is get rid of the people who did it. But that's not going to happen because we remember what happened with the 22 windows now. And then we have a former mayor and radio talk show host saying, oh, I understand why he did that. Well, you know, he's had a $100,000 a year job and he's got bills to pay, and you know, you got to do what your boss tells you. And so I understand that. I'm not saying it's right, but I understand that. Well, that's one of the problems with politics. Because if you and I did that, we'd be in jail. Because we're not we don't work for politicians. We didn't get appointed by politicians. Well, I'm going to tell you something, Bob. You know, somebody said, I don't know the other defense, but that's the Nuremberg defense. You know, I wish, you know, I bet every Nazi war criminal who was sentenced to death after World War II, who pleaded, I was just following orders, they all wish they could have you on the jury. You know, because that's not an excuse. If you don't have enough integrity to do the right thing, you also have a fiduciary responsibility as a public official to the citizens of Fall River, and that duty was not lived up to, and they should all pay.
You know, Chip, the funny part about all of this is, as you said, people aren't doing their job. And that's the problem. People aren't doing their job, okay? And Terry Sullivan came before the city council and said, we have to meet an EPA standard on this incinerator. We're looking for that video now. We will have it. And he said that we need to repair it. On March 22nd, that incinerator got shut down. That handled the sewage. We're now paying thousands upon thousands of dollars to haul our crap from Fall River to another city. Why do we have it then? Why wasn't the private entity, because remember, that's been privatized. Why didn't the private entity make sure that those regulations are being met? Why? Because Fall River doesn't care.
Well, it's because government works in the exact opposite of the rest of the world in private industry. In private industry, when you make screw-ups like this that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars, you're immediately terminated. But in government, what you do is you get a new job title, you get a pay raise, and I hire 6 other people not to do that job. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. That's the problem we have in Fall River and throughout the country. That's the reason that the IRS and all these other bureaucratic that have hundreds of thousands of people working in them. Because the government answer to screwing up is give the guy a pay raise and hire 3 other people to help him not do the job and have a study. Mm-hmm. Right, Carlos?
Yes, I mean, I would like to comment on a couple of things, and that's my job here, it's just to comment. And a couple of things I want to comment. On the mayor's, I'm going to do this, the comment that he did, I'm going to do this, even if it costs more money I'm going to do this. That's what I have the problem, because one thing is when a subcommittee decides something, and the majority of the community don't agree with that decision, and you use your power to say, no, I'm hearing the community going the other way, so I need to go and defend my community. Another thing is when everything is on your head and you have to make a decision, and you say, I'm going to do it because I want to do it, to me, comes like the power. You're using your overpower that you have to make this decision, and even if you're not listening to the community, what the community wants to do. That's the 2 difference that I see here. And I think it was a bad comment. I hope that he didn't mean it to do what he said. But that's what I think about that. On the other issue of people really using oral services, I have to say the reason of that is because the majority of insurance used in Fall River is Mass Health. Okay, so Mass Health, you have to do it at least 2 visits a year to the dentist or have your teeth cleaned. So I kind of think that that's why people in Fall River use the services.
Well, you know, Carlos, you may be right, but the fact is, look, you're a neighborhood leader, and everybody knows the way you do things. But I'm sure you've been in positions where you had to do things that maybe some people on your committee weren't happy to. But I believe that you always felt that what was good for the neighborhood, what was good for the Flint, took priority over what, you know, any kind of committee decided. Because if you felt that, look, the people are telling me they don't want this, you have to do it because you have concern for the people. You have concern for and this is the thing. This is what I said at the outset of the show. The insensitivity to make a statement like this, like I'm just going to throw these people out, let them lose their jobs. It's just. It's mind-boggling, and you know, I know that you deal with this all the time because you have to prioritize and you have to look. And the bottom line should be, as you said, your focus is always what's best for the people in your neighborhood, and that's the mayor's focus should be what's best for the people of Fall River. And to make a statement, I don't care if it costs more. Well, we do. I do. I mean, I'm going to be paying, you know, 30% more on 3 different fees, 25 to 30% more on different fees. You're going to raise my taxes to the maximum 2.5 levy, you know, and then you're going to tell me you're eliminating a fee that I don't pay because I privatized?
And,
you know something? That's crap.
And if that comment came after an advisor committee that he's working with, he needs to change that advisor committee because, you know, that they're not advising him the right way.
Well, you know, I've always, you know, I've seen you, Carlos, firsthand take on mayors, and you know, when you didn't feel it was in the best interest of Flint, and even if the mayor didn't help you, you did things on your own, and that's one of the things that. The reason you're so well respected by all the neighborhood associations, you fight for your people, and that's what our representatives are supposed to do for us, and they're not doing it. I'm tired, Linda. I'm tired of you saying it. Just nod your head like the puppet that you are, and stop telling me that you gotta do it. I gotta do it. No, you don't, Linda. You can say, look, read my lips. No.
Nobody on that council. Nobody on that council knows the word no, and it's detrimental. And as for this going to the ER for a health issue, you know, Mass Health's policy does allow for cleanings, extractions. They don't allow for fillings, which make no sense, and they don't allow for root canals or necessary work. So as far as the government's concerned, we're a state that requires insurance. So if you can't qualify under the payment programs, or if you only qualify for Mass Health in general, which the rules changed on January 1st, so a lot of people who were paying for their insurance before and could get the dental program that they could purchase from anyone, now can't because they've been shifted over to Mass Health because the income levels went up to qualify for Mass Health, so they got shifted. So now they can't buy the insurance for dental services. They can't get the dental services they need. So according to the Democratic Party, the democratically controlled House and Senate, who sets the legislation, they would rather have you stupid, poor, and toothless than for you to have proper dental care. And by the way, not having proper dental care can result in cardiac conditions. So remember that. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'm going to tell you now, Tuesday is going to be an interesting day.
Stay angry.